Hi, everyone. Welcome to Matz Unfiltered. I'm your host, Matz. I'm so thrilled to share my new neon sign. What better place to have this amazing neon sign than in the city of neon lights, Hong Kong? Today's topic is a hot button issue. I've seen tons of posts, articles about this issue, and that is to recline or not recline your seat whilst we're flying. Anyone see the news? There was a piece that came out a few months ago about a couple of lads that got into a fight flying from Bali to Melbourne. There was a couple banned last year from Cathay Pacific and tons of other airlines where people get into these fights. I don't really understand it. I don't see the reason why we have to get into these fights. For me, it seems odd that something so simple as pushing your seat back can spark outrage and arguments, fistfights, whilst we're all crammed into a metal tube 30,000 feet above the ground. And the discussion continues online there are people who genuinely feel that you don't have a right to recline. And look, I've experienced some of these experiences myself. I've had the time when I've had a meal and just as I'm about to start, someone in front of me decides to recline their seat, which basically means that my tray is guillotining my gut. It's a new type of tummy tuck, not that I want to have happening. And, those types of tray crushing moments really got me thinking, along with seeing all of these social media posts, is what is okay when it comes to reclining your seat? And why do people get so heated over this topic? For me, it's really about a combination of issues, some that we can try and solve ourselves and some that requires the airlines to really pull their finger out. It's a combination of issues, right? Travel is stressful. I know that, for a lot of people, getting themselves ready and traveling, it's stressful. There's a lot going on. We also have other things going on in our lives. And something I feel very strongly about, and I'm going to sound like a grumpy old lady, is I just think we're less polite. You hear less of the phrase manners maketh man. And I think particularly when we travel, we all get a little bit more arseholey than normal. The other reason, which is a big reason, is that airline design is really cramming in more seats. So there are tighter seat pitches, less leg space, which means we're really more crammed in, particularly in economy. And there needs to be real solutions to fix this. I completely understand that airlines need to make money. No one's suggesting that they don't, but we need a better design to manage how people can travel fairly comfortably without airlines sacrificing the ability to earn money. And I've seen a couple of designs that I think are interesting. The first one is people standing. It's a kind of sit-stand idea. No is my answer. How do you expect someone to stand for, even if it's a lean stand or a sit stand, for longer than a 1 hour flight? I think that doesn't make any sense. The one idea that I have seen floating around that seems to be quite popular is this idea of a double-decker seat. It's kind of a row above you and in front of you slightly. And from a design perspective, it looks like it works really well. Means that everyone gets better leg space. It means that if you recline, you're not going into someone's lap. Looks really good, except for one issue that the designers have completely forgotten. And I think it was because they designed it whilst they were not mid-flight. And it's a massive design flaw, or should I say fart. What happens to our bodies 30,000 feet in a pressurized cabin? Gas. And I have no interest in sitting below a row of people who are farting their way on a 13-hour flight. So my suggestion to the designers is rethink it. In the interim, what else can we do? Well, I personally follow a set of flight rules, and particularly for reclining, I have a golden rule where I don't recline during 3 key times. The first 2 are obvious, takeoff and landing. As a frequent flyer, You're not supposed to recline. Crew is going to come over and tell you to lift your seat up. So for me, that's an obvious. But the most important one is I never recline during meal times. When I see the trolley coming, I automatically will lift my seat up, put it back in the upright position, as I know that the person in front of me should be doing the same, and the person behind me is probably getting their tray ready. I also pay attention, mainly because I want my own tray cleared as soon as possible. Went to boarding school, so I eat fast. So I want it cleared as quickly as possible. I pay attention when the trolley is coming, and I know that when they've cleared the tray, I'm okay to recline my seat. I think it's important to just pay a little bit of attention, and, be a bit aware of people around you. There was an incident as well where a guy posted on social media that he was reclining. There was a lady behind him who was pregnant, and it was really uncomfortable for her. I don't think either were at fault. I think it was just a case of being a little bit aware. I don't think a fight happened, which is amazing, great. So I think it's really about managing your own behavior as well as just being conscious of people around you. And I don't have an issue with people reclining. I think you have a right to recline. The button is there for a purpose. I've had it when people are reclining and I'm about to start work. And sometimes, I'm a bit worried about my laptop. But the reality is that's my own choice. I choose to work at that particular moment. I just have to shift my computer a bit so that I can keep working. I don't have an expectation that in a tight environment that people aren't going to recline. As I said, I think people have a right. I also think there are certain people, and we'll get into this debate on another episode when I talk about paying for seats. Again, I don't have an issue paying for better seats, but I think for certain people, the bulkhead seat should be kept for perhaps people who are pregnant so that they've got a bit more space in front of them. And maybe they shouldn't have to pay extra. But again, it's a gray area. The most important thing is if you are seated and there's an asshole in front or behind you, don't escalate the situation yourself. Call a flight attendant. They're trained to handle these kinds of moments. They have a stressful enough job, but it's better for them to kind of diffuse the situation than for you to get into a fist fight about it. Sure, it makes for great social media content and, but the reality is that it's just not needed. It impacts everyone else. And the last thing that anyone wants is the flight to be diverted somewhere else. It takes you longer to get home. I also think airlines need to be tough. If there are people who aren't behaving, then a ban should be in place. Reclining your seat isn't the problem. It's really the way we do it. And we need a combination of things. Better etiquette, smarter design, so we can take the drama out of it. So with that, share with me if you've had an experience of a seat reclining issue. Were you the recliner or the reclinee? Or maybe you've got some solutions or advice on how we can do it better. Share and don't forget to tag Matz Unfiltered. Thanks for listening in to this week's Matz Unfiltered. Don't forget to subscribe and share. I hope you're enjoying the content. Join me next week when I'm going to dissect the issue of the continuing practice of towel art and if we really need it in hotel rooms. Until next time, recline responsibly.